So I've been getting some requests to give everybody my recipe for these chicken biscuits I make, and they're low carb. So I take a big pot. I don't cook in this, but this is my biggest bowl. So I've already put a packet of, this is the Parmesan cheese, shredded. And then I try to add a little bit of other cheese, so I just had a little left over this taco bun. Then I add seasoning. So today I'm going to do some Italian dressing, and I'm going to do a little bit of the chicken bouillon. But just other information, I've already cooked the chicken for a few hours on high in the crock pot. And then I actually set it overnight in the fridge because I didn't have time last night. But normally it does need to cool. So next step. This time I also decided to take some leftover cream cheese that I had. It was actually, it's anything, but I threw that in there too. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the cooked chicken that's cooled, and I've let it sit out for about a half an hour, and I am going to shred it in the blender. So when I cook the chicken in some spices, and then I cut it up in chunks, and then I get it into like it's very fine. So as soon as I'm done with that, I'll show you the next step. So I'm using a Ninja food processor, but if I had my other one, I would like it better. But any food processor will work. So I get the chicken in there, and I just get it to about a consistency that I can, use to like make little balls. So I'm going to do that with all of the rest of this chicken. And I used quite a bit this time. I don't really measure, but I use organic chicken, and I use about 4 or 5 big chicken breasts. So this is the first batch of chicken I'm pouring in here, and that's about the consistency you want. So it's shredded, real shredded, so because I'm going to add egg, and I'm going to stir it up, and we're going to make little like chicken biscuit balls. So as soon as I'm done with the rest of the chicken, I'll be back. So this is the last of the chicken. I've got quite a bit in here. One of the reasons I let the chicken cool, and usually overnight, is so that when I pick it apart, I can find anything in here. Like I found a couple bones because I bought organic chicken, so there's a little bone in here. And then I just make sure. But this is the consistency. So it's almost like shredded cheese. Or, grated cheese. Usually I don't use my hands or I have gloves, but I'm going to stir this up now. Sorry, I got to rinse my hands off. So, the chicken, I'm going to grab the phone here. So this is a chicken, and it only has right now the cheese, the sour cream, and the chicken. But I'm going to add my spices. So since it's such a big batch, I'm going to do the whole thing of the Italian dressing and about half of the chicken bouillon. And another thing I need to note is that when I cook the chicken, I cook it with a little bit of basil, parsley, salt, and pepper, like in the crock pot. I also add a little bit of olive oil. So once I get these done and I get it all mixed up, I add 1 or 2 eggs. For this batch, I'll add 2 eggs. And I'll get it all mixed up. And then I lay them out on a cookie sheet, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so I'm back. Here's the bowl. This was so much chicken, I decided actually to add a little bit more cheese. And what I had was this cheddar. And then I also added about a cup of the shredded Parmesan. The Parmesan cheese helps keep it more, it'll be less gooey. But, and this is what I love about cooking. You can do whatever you want. So the seasonings I chose were the Italian dressing and the Goya the Goya seasoning. But you can season this however you want. I've actually made them like with a curry flavor. And so I decided, because this is so big and the seasoning, I want to get it really blended in. I decided to just pull out my mixer. And so I am going to use this to really get it all mixed up, because I did put the 2 eggs in there. So I just have to get these in here, and they're not working. This is why I was freaking out about doing a video. So I'm gonna blend all this up, and it should be a nice consistency. One of my main things is I want to make sure all of those spices get really mixed around. And then the egg too, because the egg helps everything keep its shape. And I have to say, this is probably the biggest batch of chicken I've ever used. But since I eat 2 of these, 2 to 3 of them a day, I'll bring this up here. I eat 2 to 3 of these a day. They are, with the cheese and the egg, I calculate 2 ounces of chicken has 16 grams of protein. So I add a couple grams for the extra cheese and the cream cheese and the egg. So I would say if you want to average, it's probably about 9 grams of protein per ounce for each little biscuit. And each little biscuit I do is about 2 to 2.5 ounces. So it's a very good source of protein. So once these are in the oven, the pan over there, I already greased the pan. So now I'm going to put my gloves on, and I'm going to form them into little balls. This is about how it should look. So this is pretty perfect consistency, and everything's blended in there. And you want it to just look about like this. And like I said, you can add any seasonings you want. You can add any, you know, I just would stay away from anything that would make it be watery. Now, you could even add a little bit of the panko breadcrumbs, but if you're trying to avoid carbs completely, because being on the Trulicity, I've actually had to cut out a lot of carbs. But this is actually just, it's perfect. This is perfect. So once I have them all balled up and on the pan, I preheat the oven to about 375, and I put them in there for about a half an hour. But I'll show you the pan before it goes in the oven. Alright, here's my grease pan. Here's my chicken. It's perfect, the consistency. The cream cheese really helps, but I only use a small amount of the cream cheese. The egg will help a lot to make it keep its shape, and when it's cooking, it'll firm it up. So I make it about, you could weigh these, but they're going to weigh a little different before. But I put the ball, and this is actually a little bit bigger, but I have so much chicken. I put the little ball, and then I just push it down a little. And then this is a thoroughly greased cookie sheet. So once I'm done, they'll go in the oven. And these are going to be amazing. The other thing I love about these is you can freeze them. So I'm going to be done with the video for now. I have the oven at about 375. And then I will take a picture when I post this video, and I will show you the final result. And I freeze these. So, but I try to eat two or three a day. They're amazing with mustard, anything low calorie, and you will be able to get like 17 to 20 grams of protein per biscuit. So it's genius. Hope you enjoyed the video.